This is my ENO Lounger DL chair, and in this video, we'll be testing for its ease of setup, pack away, seat size, seat height, features, and much more to see whether it truly is the best low camping chair you can possibly find. Before we set this up, here's what you get in the box: the carry bag, the poles, and the chair fabric. First, let's start with the poles. Simply follow the short cording and insert all the poles into the sockets, like so. But two things to take note of here. One, the leg poles slide in at an angle, so just follow the angle of the socket to get each one secured. And second, if you see these poles with these arrows, these should be secured last after already setting up the rest of the frame. Now, when you're done, this is what it should look like. You have the 4 leg poles on the ground. These 2 short poles are for the front of the seat, and the longer poles are for the back of the seat. Next, grab the fabric of the chair, look for the pillow with the ENO logo, and that's for the top of the chair. To secure it to the poles, there are 2 pole pockets at the back which go onto the pole tips. After that, secure the bottom 2 ends of the chair onto the short poles at the front. Again, you'll find pole pockets on both ends for doing so, and that's your chair fully set up. If you need these instructions on the go, they're actually attached to the carry bag, so you can check them out anytime. This is a full setup time-lapse of the ENO Lounger. I timed myself and found that this whole process came in at about 1 minute and 25 seconds. Now, here are the steps to pack away this chair. Step 1. Remove the chair and lay it on the ground. Step 2. Break down all the poles and bunch them together. One tip here: when breaking down the feet poles, make sure that this short cord is fully threaded into this slot in the chair hubs, so there's not too much pressure on the cord. Step 3. Place the poles near the built-in pillow, roll everything up tightly, and pack everything away back into the bag. Here's another full time lapse, and this time, my pack away timing took longer, coming in at 2 minutes. Now, you might have thought that the setup and pack away was a bit too complicated for your liking, but that's because I bought the previous design of the ENO Lounger. These timings here are based on what we just saw in the first 2 tests. However, in late 2024, I think, they redesigned the entire chair by making these 3 poles that are in a triangle right here. These are now fixed in place, so you don't have to set it up like I did. This triangle bit here was the least intuitive part of the setup, so I think they did a good job with the redesign. So for the newer version, you only have to fix the 4 legs and the 4 main body poles, which will shed at least 30 seconds off the setup timing, giving you a much better setup timing of just 1 minute. And for the pack away on my older version of the Lounger, I thought that the carry bag on this is one of the tightest that I've ever tested, so it was pretty annoying. The bag is side loading, the opening isn't very big, and there's a lot of fabric on this. In fact, out of this 2 minute timing here, I often spend like 1 entire minute just trying to squeeze everything back into the bag. So with the updated carry bag, which is much bigger, you won't need to take so much time to squeeze everything back in, and you can easily shed like 45 seconds to 1 minute off. And here you have all the updated timings. As for the unfolded dimensions, here's what I measured. The longest width is from one side of the chair to the other, including the cup holder here, and that comes in at 29 inches. The longest length from the back of the chair to the front of the seat comes in at about 35.5 inches. And the tallest total height from the ground to the top of the chair comes in at 37 inches. Apart from the height, which was quite accurate, the dimensions I measured are slightly longer and wider than the marketed specs. Now, here are all the detailed measurements, starting with the seat size. Average seat width for this chair around this area here comes in at about 21 inches. Seat depth from the back to the front of the seat is 16.5 inches. I'm not very big, so I found the seat to be quite roomy and very comfortable. As for seat height, the marketed specs state that it's 13.5 inches on high and 9 inches on low. So on high, I measured the seat height from the front of the chair with no one sitting on it, and it really did come in at exactly 13.5 inches. But when I sat in the chair and I took the distance from the ground to where I'm actually sitting down instead, that came in at just 9.5 inches. That's a total difference of 4 inches. I noticed the same thing with the low position as well. The height from the front of the seat without anyone sitting on it was 9 inches. But when I sat in it and measured the real seat height from the ground to where I'm sitting, that was just 3.6 inches, so very much lower than expected. Here's what the lounger looks like in the low position, and you can see the distance from the ground to the bottom of the seat is definitely not 9 inches like marketed. If you're wondering how this chair could have high and low seat heights, it's because of the adjustable legs. The 4 legs that we set up previously at the bottom, these can be removed, which gets you 6 inches closer to the ground. To remove the legs, pull it out of the socket, thread the short cording fully through the slot in the chair hub, fold each foot under the frame and snap it onto the nearest triangle pole. There's a small gap in each chair foot for you to do so. The snapping motion isn't best though, sometimes the foot poles will just drop off. I didn't think it was a very big deal as long as you make sure you do not sit directly on these leg poles with the other poles or they may break. And when you do get closer to the ground, this was super comfy for wanting to stretch your legs out and take a nap, and this is easily my favorite feature of this chair. Now for the backrest height, this is from where the seat ends to the top of the chair, and that comes in at a whopping 31 inches. And the backrest width comes in at almost 17 inches. At the top of the backrest, you'll also find an inbuilt pillow, but because I'm a bit short, only the tip of my head touches the pillow. If it were adjustable, I would be able to shift it down lower, and that would have been perfect for me. The pillow is really nice and soft and comfy though, so it was still decently comfy for me. And the last seat measurement is the angle of recline. I measured this to be about 42 degrees, which is very reclined, and you will be in a permanently reclined position because there's no way to adjust this. Hence why this is a lounge chair, because it's meant for only lounging. Next, we'll look at features. My model of the lounger doesn't have any mesh, as you can see here. These 4 holes at the bottom of the chair isn't for ventilation though, it's for water drainage in case this chair gets left out in the rain. But I thought the fabric wasn't very thick, so it didn't trap too much heat for me. If you run a bit hot and you prefer more breathability, this lounger comes with an almost full mesh option instead, just FYI. Here's another feature we're going to look at. It doesn't look like it, but the armrests are built in at the sides with much more padding than the rest of the chair. They're not very long and you're not meant to put your hands stretched out like this, but if you sit like me with just your elbows on the armrests, I thought these were very comfy and were a definite plus for me. Next we have storage. First we have a cup holder on the right of the lounger. Dimensions come in at 4.25 inches in length by 4 inches in diameter. I thought the diameter was a bit big for smaller cans. They're a bit wobbly and can spill if it's too full. But you can fit in mugs and even up to a 1 liter Nalgene. You also get 2 cargo pockets, one on each side of the chair. These are quite big, with the longest length of 11.5 inches and the longest width of 8.25 inches. You can fit loads of stuff in here, like your sunnies, your phone, and even a book on top of that, and that's all in just one pocket. For materials and quality, here's a quick list of everything I looked at, and we'll go through all of them now. The frame isn't like most other lightweight chairs. You'll see one example on screen right now. The center of this Halinox chair is just a single bar. In comparison, the lounger has a triangle frame at the bottom, which added to the stability of this chair. On top of that, the feet are kind of wide as well. Everything above, coupled with the low center of gravity, made this chair feel very stable. I never felt like I was going to tip over even when I was like rocking gently. Stitching was great all around the chair without a single loose thread. The fabric is 300 denier ripstop polyester. The poles are made of 6061 anodized aluminum, and they're decently thick too, coming in at 3/4 of an inch thick. And the pole joints are made of high-grade plastic, so overall quality I thought was great. And at the back of your setup instructions, you'll find your warranty info with a 2-year warranty. For portability, the pack size dimensions for mine come in at 24 by 7.5 by 6 inches. This has the same length as a 2-person Coleman sunroom tent, and it's slightly smaller in terms of width. However, bear in mind that the newer version that's available right now, this has a significantly bigger pack size because of the fixed triangle poles that we talked about. This is almost double the pack volume of the one that I have. The carry bag has an adjustable shoulder strap, making it easy to carry around. The weight of the chair itself comes in at 4.8 pounds. The carry bag weighs 4.2 ounces or 1/4 pound, making the total weight 5 pounds. I think the newer version weighs almost like 1 pound heavier than the one that I have because they changed the fabric material of the chair from ripstop nylon to ripstop polyester, which is heavier. Now, how does this ENO lounger compare to other low camp chairs? I've tested a couple others. These are the Alps Mountaineering Rendezvous and Cascade Mountain Tech. Basically, as you can see, they typically have almost the exact same chair structure and build. These also sit very low. The Rendezvous here sits just 4 inches off the ground. In comparison, the ENO lounger, you can sit either just 3.6 inches off the ground, or you can use the adjustable legs to prop yourself up a bit, giving you another seat height of almost 10 inches. So obviously there's a lot more versatility with the lounger. Another pro that the lounger has that the rest do not is a nice tall back height of a whopping 31 inches. As you might have seen, this was tall enough to cover my entire back, and it even extended past my head too. The Rendezvous has a much shorter back height that extends only up to my neck, and there's no neck support. And you even get a very soft, very comfy built-in pillow with the lounger. I also actually really liked the slight swaying hammock motion. I could gently rock myself, and it was very comfortable. And you even get one cup holder and not one but 2 huge cargo pockets that can fit tons of gear that you may need. Chairs like the Rendezvous tend to not have any storage. With the ENO lounger, you also get super comfy padded armrests, and this was such a great addition to such a packable chair. It was a very pleasant surprise. For the other type of chair, I noticed that the armrests were slanted downwards. They were also very thin and only slightly padded with this budget styrofoam-like material, and these were not very comfy. You also get much higher quality materials with the lounger. But of course, we're going to get into the cons, and the biggest one is price, obviously. For all the pros you get, you're going to be paying double the price of most other chairs. And a smaller con is that you're going to take 4 to 5 times the amount of time to set up and pack away this chair. Chairs like the Rendezvous open like your typical camp chair, just grab opposite ends and pull apart, so they set up and pack away much quicker. So here you can see all the pros of the lounger in green and the cons in red. As for myself, I don't mind the longer setup and pack away, and I got my lounger on a 25% REI sale, so it was fantastic value for money because I got to enjoy all these other pros. Definitely the best low camp chair I've tested so far. If you're interested in other types of camp chairs, I actually bought and tested 20 different ones. You can find out what I think is the best possible comparison of all of them in this video on screen, so do check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in that one.